Let's have a spin.
Our next segue is, get your pen and paper out. It's a haiku time.
Oh boy, I gotta stand up, get a pen. All right.
This next story is about Prince, as always, our favorite phrase on the show, release the Epstein files. But this is actually about Prince Andrew, who is probably in the Epstein files. I think actually maybe even he was friends with the guy for sure. And we've just learned that Prince Andrew's team tried to hire internet trolls to hassle his sex accuser, Virginia Giuffre, and as she has claimed in her posthumous memoir. It's by Laura Elston on The Independent. Miss Giuffre's allegations, which appear in the harrowing account of her life, come as the Metropolitan Police said it is actively looking into claims Andrew passed her date of birth and social security number to his bodyguard in a bid to dig up dirt for a smear campaign. Pressure is growing on the royal family to go further by backing the move to formally strip Andrew of his dukedom through his parliamentary legislation after he relinquished the use of the Duke of York title last Friday, which was, I believe, the 17th of October? Yes, the 17th of October. Miss Giuffre, in her new book, Nobody's Girl, which is being published this Tuesday on the 21st of October, described how she dressed in outfits that reminded her of her idols Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera to first meet Andrew when she was 17. She was pictured in the pink V-neck sleeveless mini t-shirt and sparkly multicolored pair of jeans embroidered with a pattern of interlocking crosses, and the famous photo showing the Duke with his arms around her waist at the Ghislaine Maxwell London flat in March 2001. Miss Giuffre also recounted how the death of Princess Diana left her scarred and unproven claims the royal family was involved, and she alleged she had sex with Andrew 4 years after the princess died to keep powerful people happy while she was in the UK. She claimed she was forced to have sex with the prince on 3 occasions, including when she was 17, and also during an orgy after being trafficked by pedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew vehemently denies the allegations. Nobody ever brags about being in an orgy. I know people who've been in an orgy, and nobody goes out there saying, yeah, we'd had an orgy. It's still quite seen as like a not civil thing to do. So, Andrew paid millions to Miss Giuffre to settle a civil sexual assault case, despite claiming to never have met her, even though, like we said, we have a picture of her in Ghislaine Maxwell's London flat in 2001, but he never met the woman. Miss Giuffre wrote how he hid behind the well-guarded gates of Balmoral Castle, making it difficult for her lawyers to serve him with papers. She also said of her 2022 legal settlement with Andrew, after casting doubt on my credibility for so long, Prince Andrew's team had even gone so far as to try to hire internet trolls to hassle. The Duke of York owed me a meaningful apology as well. She added, we would never get a confession, of course. That's what settlements are designed to avoid. But we were trying for the next best thing, a general acknowledgement of what I'd been through. Miss Giuffre described how she took part in 2 days of meditation, and her lawyer read the Duke's agreed settlement statement at 2:30 a.m. Florida time through tears, both hers and mine. Miss Giuffre, who died by suicide in April, wrote an email to her co-writer Amy Wallace at the start of that month, shortly after being involved in a car crash, that said it was her heartfelt wish that this work be published regardless of my circumstances at the time, and that it will still be released in the event of her death. The content of this book is crucial, as it aims to shed light on the systematic failures that allow the trafficking of vulnerable individuals across borders, she said in an email. Miss Giuffre added, in the event of my passing, I would like to ensure that Nobody's Girl is still released. I believe it has the potential to impact many lives and foster necessary discussions about these grave injustices. And tension is intensifying on the Epstein scandal, which led to Andrew's downfall, despite hopes. He led his own downfall, but okay. Despite hopes by the king that his disgraced younger brother's banishment would draw a line under the long-running controversy, particularly before the monarch's historic state visit to the Vatican to meet the Pope this week. Miss Giuffre also revealed how the conspiracy theory surrounding Diana's death impacted her when was allegedly forced to have sex with Andrew in London because she was surrounded by people who wielded vastly more clout than I ever would. I hadn't wanted to have sex with the prince, I said, But I felt I had to, she wrote, saying she believed there's no way to free yourself from Epstein and Maxwell's grip. Also, yeah, I guess she was scared that if they got Diana killed, what's going to stop them from getting her killed? I better appease the royal family at all costs. She said that her then-boyfriend, Tony Figueroa, was scared that I was alone in a foreign country with people so powerful. He said he understood why I felt powerless. Less than 4 years earlier, Lady Diana had died in a car accident, prompting some conjecture, never proven, that the royal family had somehow been involved. Tony and I had no way of knowing if this was true, but we were sure that I was surrounded by people who wielded vastly more clout than I ever would. She added, Tony and I agreed that, especially when I was abroad, I needed to keep Epstein and Maxwell happy, so do whatever they tell her to. Herod's boss, Mohammed Al-Fayed, had claimed Prince Philip masterminded the car crash that killed Diana and his son Dodi Al-Fayed, but an inquest found that the chauffeur Henry Paul was drunk and driving too fast. Miss Giuffre, oh yeah, but who got him drunk, right? You know, if you can have 10 steps removed from the scenario, but you can still be involved. Miss Giuffre described how convicted sex trafficker Maxwell brought her an expensive Burberry purse, 3 different outfits, including 2 sexy, sophisticated dresses to meet Andrew.
Oh.
When we got back to our house, I laid them out on the bed. There were 2 sexy, sophisticated dresses she picked up, and a third option that I lobbied for, a pink V-neck, sleeveless mini t-shirt, and a sparkly multicolored pair of jeans embroidered with a pattern of interlocking horses, she wrote. After I showered and dried my hair, this sounds exactly what it's like to be sex trafficked, by the way. Some woman who is basically your pimp says, go get yourself cleaned up. We're going to make you look nice for the very, rich guy who's paid for your services. After I showered and dried my hair, I put on the jeans and top, which left a strip of my stomach exposed. Maxwell wasn't thrilled, but like most teenage girls then, I idolized Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. The third outfit was something I imagined the 2 of them might wear. I told Maxwell it felt more like me. Maxwell, who was more coquettish than usual, asked the Duke to guess Miss Giuffre's age, and Andrew, then 41, guessed correctly at 17. She said that she was paid $1,500 for serving the man the tabloids called Randy Andy. Damn.
Oh boy.
That is indeed called being pimped out. Describing the challenges of serving Andrew with legal papers.
That needs the name of a punk band.
Mr. Free wrote initially, the prince made it difficult for my lords to serve him with papers, fleeing to Queen Elizabeth's Balmoral Castle in Scotland and hiding behind its well-guarded gates. The Mail on Sunday reported that Andrew embarked on a bid to smear Miss Giuffre. It's said to have emailed the late Queen's then Deputy Secretary Ed Perkins and told him of his request to his protection officer, and also suggested Miss Giuffre had a criminal record. Keeps spearing her name. Oh, well, I slept with her for $15,000, but she's a criminal. I mean, technically, prostitution's illegal, right? So, Prince's alleged attempt, on which the police officer is not said to have acted, came in 2011, hours before the newspaper first published the photograph of Andrew with Miss Giuffre. The newspaper said it obtained the email from disclosures held by the U.S. Congress. York Central MP Rachel Maskell had called on Parliament to act over removing Andrew's titles, while the SNP's leader at Westminster, Stephen Flynn, said there was no justification for the UK government not to bring forward an act to do so, saying that British public were angry and aghast. Reminder that a lot of that money they paid to sex trafficking this woman was probably from your tax money. So, well, not yours, but the British tax money. I'm glad.
They're used to giving it
I'm
to
sure a lot of
family.
people are very happy their tax money is going into sex trafficking some young girls.
They don't mind just giving it to a rich family every day, so why would they care?
That's my story.
Entire royal family. Oh, okay.
At least the Epstein files, I guess.
Okay, well, here's your haiku. King Charlie's brother has a pedophile problem. Free the Trumpstein files. Release has too many syllables. Okay.
Yes. Don't. As she said, don't let the story go unheard.
Yes.
Very
Every day
sad story.
until they release them. And just a reminder, the U.S. government is now going into its 4th week. It'll be starting tomorrow of a government shutdown to protect pedophiles because they're rich. Isn't that
Money.
fucking sweet? Yeah. Military's not getting paid. Government workers are in furlough without pay. People showing up for work that are not getting paid. They're not getting paid till the government starts operating again. And
But at
why?
least the pedophiles are okay.
Because Grinder Mike Johnson, if that is his real name, Grinder Mike has the House of Representatives shut down. Why? Because there's 218 votes to release the Trumpstein files, and he doesn't want that happening. He still hasn't sworn in one congressperson who was the 218th vote. Grinder Mike Johnson knows what's on that list because that's what he's protecting. I don't know who he's protecting or why he's protecting them, but we need to see the list.